and welcome back to episode 2 of I Can Be Your Friend. I am your host, Lauren Rowe, and I am here with my gorgeous friend, Nicole.
She sounds so smooth and sensual.
Oh, thank you. So Nicole and I have been friends for, quite some time. We met through a mutual friend, but we weren't that close until probably recent years.
Yeah, maybe in the last, 4 years?
Yeah.
5 years?
Yeah, let's go with that.
We don't need to count.
So one of Nicole's specialties is makeup because
I wish you could see me now.
Yes, we were both very excited that we weren't filming this and we were just doing our voices.
Yes.
I'm in my little short tracky dacks.
I have not brushed my hair. And I have puffy eyes because I couldn't get the new Clinique mascara off my eyes.
Yes, that is a do not buy the Clinique mascara.
The Clinique eyes to flutter or something.
So Nicole, you were a makeup artist and you kind of still are, but your main job is a travel agent.
Yes.
Yeah, you just got back from Africa.
Yes, it was amazing. We got mock charged by an elephant. Mm. It was described as a mock charge, and if you can picture me saying mock in inverted commas right now, is that right? Inverted commas?
Yeah, little
speech thingies.
thingies.
So we were it was our first game drive, and we were driving through, and there were about 3 elephants on the left, and there was one lone elephant on our right. You could tell kind of straight away the elephant didn't look happy. Anyway, he turns his head and he looks at us, and we're in this Jeep, this open Jeep. There's no windows or anything, and my auntie and I are right at the back, and it looks at us, and then its massive ears start flapping. And I'm like, oh my God. And it starts running towards our car. And we're like, Fusa, to our guide, go, go, go. And there was a delay. Next minute, foot slams on the pedal and he's going, and it was terrifying.
So you outrode the elephants?
We did outride the one elephant, but that was described as a mock charge. Apparently when it's a real charge, their ears go right back and their head goes down. So, yeah, it was petrifying. No, it was awesome. It was really good. One of the best trips.
Yeah. So you, as a profession, book people
on holidays. Yes.
To be honest, I was one of those people that thought, I don't need a travel agent. They're just there for commission. I can book it myself. But
I would just like to add that 26% of people that book online make a mistake.
Well, I am one of those people because
yes.
A few years ago, this is my only overseas trip I ever did. I went to New Zealand. I don't know if I've ever told you this story.
No, I don't know. It's fun.
And I went for my partner at the time. He had a friend who was getting married. It was a destination wedding. So we went, had a few days to kill. So I went into the main, street?
Yeah.
It was in Queenstown.
Yeah.
In New Zealand. And I just grabbed all the flyers and brought them back to the hotel room. I'm like, right, what are we doing? And, you're in New Zealand. So I was like, I have to do something Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I found heaps of tours and I thought, oh, this guy looks all right. He's cheap. He's easy. So
cheap and easy. Exactly what we usually go for. That's me tomorrow night at the Christmas party.
So they all started to look the same. So I thought I'll just pick that one. I rang him up, booked him. He sounded pretty professional.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, just wait out the front of your hotel room. We'll pick you up. And I'm like, awesome. Thinking it's going to be a coach or something. This guy arrives.
Oh,
it's a van, obviously his own van.
Yeah.
He has handmade a sign, Lord of the Rings tour, that he's stuck on the side of the van.
It's handmade, like he painted it.
Yeah.
On cardboard.
It wasn't cardboard. He painted it on the card. It was just very, very, that was my first warning sign, okay? And this tour is 3.5 hours long, right?
Next minute, Channel 7. A lady has been found dead in New Zealand from a Lord of the Rings tour gone wrong.
Oh my gosh, I had that thought when I was in the van. So I was thinking, well, it's me and my boyfriend. Obviously we've got more pickups. Yeah. He goes, oh, you guys are the only ones today. I'm like, oh, okay.
Fantastic.
All right.
Private tour.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Wasn't thinking red flag number 2, which probably I should have. Anyway, it turned out he was the driver for Lord of the Rings. So he would drive all the celebrities. He would drive anyone around.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a Lord of the Rings tour so much as this guy just reminiscing about the time that he worked on Lord of the Rings set. He's like, so here I drove along.
Oh, no.
And I had such and such in the back seat. And I'm like, oh, did you say hi? No. And this is 3 hours, 3.5 hours worth.
So did you see any of the Lord of the Rings stuff?
No.
I
He took us to like, it was literally like a forest.
Yeah.
And it was a rock. And he's like, oh, do you know that scene where Frodo sticks his head over a rock? That's that rock.
Are you serious?
It was
could have
that.
been any rock.
It really could have. And I was like, oh my God, I just want to go back to my hotel.
Because I'm pretty sure that Lord of the Rings didn't film in Queenstown.
Well,
safe to say probably wasn't the rock.
well, you never know.
But if that was the only thing that went wrong, that's pretty good.
It was the most boring tour in the world. And after that, I finally realized and appreciated what you do as a profession.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we're up to our entertainment segment where we're going to talk about what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're reading, or one of those things. I'm going to start.
Yeah, good.
Because, oh my gosh, I am obsessed with this new show that I found out on Stan.
Yeah.
It is called The Bold Type.
What is it?
The Bold Type.
The Bold Type.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's kind of a cross between, were you a Gossip Girl fan?
Yes.
So it's a
came in very late.
Yeah,
yes.
cross between Gossip Girl and Devil Wears Prada. If you put them together, but not as much bitching, which is, I really like that. A lot of the problems are kind of outside influences of it.
Yeah.
And I binged the 2 seasons within a matter of like 4 days. It was so addictive, so good. I'm going to have to get you to come over and watch it because you don't have Stan or Netflix, do you?
I know everyone gets very shocked when they hear this. Actually, I do have Netflix now. See, the reason I didn't have Netflix was because my mum's just really not up to with technology. Like
I should just preface that we're both 28 and still
I still live with mum and dad, and it's like she thinks this little Netflix Grinch is going to take all her internet, and it's like we're back in 1999 and we've just got the internet.
Honestly, I don't know how you do it.
We have it now. We do have it now. So David connected on his phone or whatever he did.
David's your lovely boyfriend.
Yes, to his dad's Netflix, and now we go on the Wi-Fi. And Mum's like, "Can you?" All right. She got really angry when she heard, and she's like, "Okay, you can trial the Netflix. I want you to document every time you're watching Netflix, so I can see if the internet is going down." But yeah, so I don't have Stan. So
but what's the show you're watching at the moment?
Riverdale.
Oh,
yes.
I'm so excited. I've been telling you to watch that for ages.
Yes. So I don't know. I think we're only on season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit maybe to the end. I don't know how many episodes we've watched.
It gets a bit unusual, but
I feel like it's starting to get a little bit, I don't know, stupid. Like,
yeah, it's definitely not a realistic.
But I really like that actor, that Jughead guy, which is in that new movie.
I was just about to bring that up.
That's a fantastic segue that we did not plan.
No, we did not plan it at all. Because
he's the best actor in that show.
Cole Sprouse.
He's amazing. He's like a really.
Because you know he was a Disney star.
I didn't know he was a Disney
Cole
star.
Sprouse, he was a Disney star. And do you know
There's
who else
nothing
was?
Disney about him.
No, but do you know what else?
Yeah.
He was Ross's son in Friends.
Oh, I didn't really watch that.
Oh, okay. If you did, your mind would have just been blown.
But did you know that him and that girl,
Betty,
are actually dating in real life?
No.
Yeah, they're dating in real life. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit adorable.
Yeah, that's cute.
But going back to the segue that we did not plan.
Yeah.
So that was actually going to be my book of the week. So it's called 5 Feet Apart, and it is about 2 cystic fibrosis patients who fall in love. And obviously something close to my heart because I have cystic fibrosis.
Yes.
It's a genetic illness that affects the lungs and digestive system. And when you have this illness, there's this thing called cross-infection where you can't be more than 6, well, you can, but it's recommended you don't go between, you don't get closer than 6 feet because you can transfer bugs back and forth, which can be highly dangerous and potentially fatal. So, obviously a bloody romance. It's a sick teen drama. I'm doing one of your inverted commas. Because that is my least favorite genre of film and book. Yep. And so I read it. I didn't necessarily... The only reason I read it was because it was obviously about CF.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. It's just that I don't like that genre of book or film. But in saying that, it had a lot of perks for me. Some things completely unrealistic.
Like in terms of how CF is? Like, is that
I think
unrealistic?
they actually did really well in how they portrayed it.
Yeah.
I know there is a massive tour between the CF community. One side of people that say there's a lot of things, a lot of rules that are broken with cross infection and stuff. They're worried it will influence the children.
Yeah.
The children. And then there's another side that go, oh no, it's, finally CF is in mainstream media, which I completely agree with that stream. Look, I think they did really well with the portrayal of CF. It was just the little things that they did that I really enjoyed that you don't normally get in a book. Mm-hmm. And I do know that Claire Wineland, she was a CF ambassador, helped on the script. And I think that really, really helped with it. She unfortunately passed away this year, actually, after she helped. So she never got to see the movie, which is a shame. Yeah, which is quite sad. But one of the unrealistic things that I saw, he snuck into her, this is a spoiler, sneaks into the theatre before she has surgery to put a poster up on like the top of the theatre. So when she like goes under anaesthetic, that's the last thing she sees is this picture on the roof.
Would not be allowed in that theatre room.
They say he sneaks in and stuff. I'm like, one, you don't know what theatre room she's going in. Two, you can kill her with your germs and you just went into what's meant to be the most hygienic places of a hospital. So a lot of unrealistic things.
But that's love stories in general.
Exactly. You just got to take it. Yeah. And for the people who are getting upset about it, look, it's a fictional film and book created for entertainment purposes.
And I think that, if it's bringing more attention to CF and it's doing, and as long as that part, the integrity is maintained and it's realistic and it is, what it is, then that's the main thing.
Yeah, because when I was 11 years old, the biggest influence I had from media was Moulin Rouge. That's why I was such a Moulin Rouge fan, because the main character, Satine, she had consumption and coughed up blood. I was coughing up blood when I was 11. I thought it was fantastic. Someone else was doing it. She was a main character. She was beautiful.
Like
she was a prostitute who died. And that was my influence growing up. So I think it's good.
It's funny you say that because
it explains a lot.
It does explain a lot. And I think about, I was probably 7 or 8. And my favourite movie was Pretty Woman. and
our role models.
And I look back on it now and I think, oh my God, what a terrible movie to be watching at that age. But also, the part when she brings out the condoms and she's like, I've got red, I've got yellow, I've got green, I've got blue. I thought that was lollies. And now I realise what they are.
Are you sure you know?
Pretty Woman, Dirty Dancing.
See, I didn't watch Pretty Woman and I wasn't a fan of Dirty Dancing when I was a kid growing up. Now I appreciate them.
I have to leave now.
Yeah, I know. I just broke your heart. So now we are going into our advice section. Oh. This time people have actually written in.
Oh, we've got some questions?
Yes, we do.
Oh, I'm excited.
Okay, so I've got 3 questions.
Okay, drum roll.
So we'll start with, I'm going to call him Ted.
Ted, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Ted.
I've moved in with 3 of my best mates, but even though we are good friends, I struggle having them as housemates. It seems that I always end up being the one who cleans the house. I've tried hinting at them when the house gets dirty and needs to be cleaned and wait for them to do it, but they never do and don't seem to mind living in dirty conditions, but I do. I can't afford for us to put in for a cleaner, and I am worried that if this keeps going, I'm going to lose my friends. What should I do?
Is this a male?
Yeah.
Oh.
What? That's your one comment.
Oh.
Okay, so Teddy boy.
Get out.
Oh, man.
Get out while you still can.
No, because it's hard when you live with friends. I've only lived with housemates. I've never actually lived with friends. You live...
Well, yeah, I still live with mum and dad. So But I remember someone saying to me, don't live with your friends. So if you're going to move out, move out with strangers.
Well, that advice would be great. Like what, 2 years ago when you first did it.
Because I suppose you don't want those conflicts coming between you.
But also too, if you're grown boys or grown humans, you need to have a certain quality of living. Like that's just being a grown-up.
I wish we had some pictures to coincide with this. Like how dirty are we talking?
Like, see, I should have asked.
And are we like, is it the kitchen dirty? So are they leaving like plates of food everywhere?
I'd say so. They'd have to be for.
Is Ted just a little bit? Is he a bit of a perfectionist? Like, is it just that there are a few pairs of shoes laying around?
But
like
he's
how
saying
dirty?
that they never clean.
They never clean.
Well. That's what I got from it. So let's go with that. They never clean.
They never clean.
Because when I lived with housemates, look, I think it's an ongoing problem, a global problem with all housemates of who cleans what. I created a roster.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I had a roster for the bathroom anyway with my housemate because there was 4 of us all up and I shared a bathroom with the other girl and I just had a roster and we alternated and if we couldn't do 1 week because we were busy or whatever, that person filled in and then they would get a leeway for when they need to miss a week.
I think roster's a good idea because then it's like you can just casually say, "Oh, hey Jake, you're on the dishes tonight."
Yeah,
just a reminder.
but I think approaching that conversation, you just need to sit down, have a house meeting.
I would definitely be doing a bit of a house meeting.
I think definitely a house meeting, and sit down and say, look, guys, I'm the one that ends up cleaning.
Yeah.
You obviously know this.
And I think it's good if you say, because obviously they don't care about the cleaning. So this is 2 different values. Mm-hmm. So Ted values a clean environment, but the others don't. So
but maybe it's about finding a midway.
Yeah, well, I think it's good if you start like the conversation saying something like, hey guys, look, I know you guys don't really care if the house is a bit messy or stuff's left around, but it actually quite bothers me and I find that I end up cleaning it all. Is there a way that we could implement maybe a roster or just make sure that we all clean up after ourselves so that I'm not doing this?
Yeah.
So then he's acknowledged, okay, I know that you don't really care, but it's affecting me.
That's a good one. That's like a 101 relationship. This is how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like David is, I hate when he drives sometimes because he drives really close to the car in front and I can't stand it because it makes me feel.
I've been in the car with David. Yeah. It's not that he's a dangerous driver. He's just a very, what's that word when you go on?
Inertia.
Ooh,
so
that's a fancy
yes, the theory that you'll continue in that state of motion unless acted upon by an external force. The one thing I took out from science, everyone. But yeah, so I said to him, I know that you like driving like this and blah, 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 but I need you to know that this makes me feel unsafe and it makes me feel uncomfortable when you drive like this. Because I think you have to acknowledge them as well.
Absolutely. And, just be transparent. I don't want this to affect our friendship, but if it continues to go around like this.
Yeah. And the earlier that you have the conversation, the better and easier it is, I think.
It's just going to eat you up. Okay, so now we have another question from, what should we call her?
I don't know who it is, so you pick whatever name you want.
It's a female name.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
We'll call her Stacey.
Okay.
So Stacey wrote in and said, I'm 26 years old and I have been with my boyfriend for over a year. I want to tell him that I love him, but I'm not sure what he will say in return and I don't want to feel rejected. Mm-hmm. Should I tell him or just wait for him to say it? Thank you. All right, Stace.
I've had this situation before, I think.
You have?
Yeah, but I'm not a big I love you person.
Have you said I love you first?
Yes, and I did it in a note, so I wrote it.
Oh, it's a interesting way.
So then it was good because he didn't have to say anything. So I think I probably wrote it in a card or something.
How old were you?
Oh, that was with Giants, so it was probably...
Oh, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Wasn't that long ago. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I wrote that in a note, but I'm not a big I love you person, so I think some people are though. So some people really want to hear that and they really want to say it, but yeah, I'm not so much like that. You're a bit of an I love you person.
Look, I don't know if I'm a big I love you person.
I think you're a medium. This conversation changes depending on why you're saying it.
Exactly.
So, are you wanting to say it so you can validate that his feelings are where you are at right now as well? So, are you just wanting to know that
you're on the same page?
Yeah, you're on the same page. You know, your emotions
are... Look, she says she's been dating the guy for over a year.
Yeah.
I think you should know by over a year if you do or don't love someone.
Yeah, I think you definitely know by that point. So, it's just a matter of if you really need to be someone that says it and hears it back.
See, I'd be the same as her. I'd need to know. I need to know. Look, I personally have never said it first. And it's not because I haven't wanted to. It's just because I haven't felt it.
Enough to say.
I'm an analyzer. So I like to analyze everything before.
What about, could you ask, do you love me? So you're not saying I love you.
Oh.
But you're just saying, do you love me?
Yeah, that's a way of going about it.
So that could work.
I'm going to give you advice that I've never taken myself, but I'd like to think that I would if I was in this situation. See, I'm the type of person that if I feel something, I have to say it, especially if I want to have a strong connection with someone else. Like I'm with someone at the moment and I'm completely transparent with him. If I'm feeling a bit shitty, I'm not going to hide it. If I'm feeling great, I'm not going to hide that. Like it's very much, I like to be transparent with the person I'm with. If you've been with this guy for a year, I'd say it. And you know what? It is going to be hard if he doesn't say it back. And I think you're more worried that he's not going to say it back, because if you weren't worried, you would have said it already. So let's go through some scenarios. One, if you say it and he says it back, wonderful.
Or you say it and he says thank you.
And if he says thank you, girl, you need to reevaluate where you are at. If he does not respond, if he doesn't love you after a year, I would have some doubts as to whether that's going to happen. I feel like
though if you've gone to a year and no one's said it yet, it probably means that he's either not feeling the same level of emotion or he's not an I love you person.
If you are saying you're not an I love you person, that is just a cop-out for not being vulnerable in front of your partner. If you have someone who is not willing to share his feelings with you, share his emotions with you, and say something that is obviously important to you, he does not deserve you. And you know what? Being vulnerable sucks, but it's also really liberating. If you can put yourself out there and know, yes, I can get hurt.
Yeah.
But it's, it's a big risk. But there's
it depends how much time you have to
burn.
burn as well. I mean, 26 is still quite young, but at the same time, it's like, do you want to waste your time with someone who's
Girl, you could be
possibly
out there on Tinder,
you
you could be having fun.
Yeah, you don't want to waste your time. Just like be transparent, be upfront, and if it's not right, freaking move on. Next.
Yeah. Ariana Grande. Thank you. Next.
Yeah, thank you. Next.
So conclusion.
I if it was me and I really wanted to know, but I was too scared to say it, I would be rolling with, do you love me?
That's a good one.
And I'd probably say it when I was probably intoxicated. So then at the end of the day, I could just blame it on the alcohol.
No, that's taking it back. No, I say it. This is let's just give it like a bunch of different opinions. I'm going to say it completely sober, because take responsibility for what you feel and what you say. And, what have you got to lose? If he does not say it back, at least you know where you stand, and then you can reevaluate where you're at.
Yeah, 100%.
So then, okay, here we go. It's from a lovely lady who I'm going to call, or you're going to call.
Jessica,
okay. Hey, doll. I needed advice on handling my 11-year-old daughter who was diagnosed with CF in 2016 at age 9 and is having a hard time with understanding the importance of doing her treatments and pills daily. I find myself going mad some days because she fights me. I seriously need help. Thanks, lovely.
Oh, this is on you, this one.
Yeah, okay. I'm not qualified in the fact that I'm not a parent, but I do have cystic fibrosis, so I guess I can just talk on that experience.
And 2 dogs, so you're almost a parent.
I'm a fur mother.
Yeah.
So look, it's a hard one, especially because she's been diagnosed later in life. It's not something she's grown up knowing. Does she know the consequences, firstly, of not doing her pills and treatment? Does she understand? Because I'm always I'm the type of person that likes to know everything. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? I think firstly, make sure that she knows exactly why she's doing this. And for those of you who don't know, when you have cystic fibrosis, you do have to take a lot of pills. You do have to do physio, and you do have to do nebulizers daily. So I'm assuming that's the type of treatment you're talking about. So firstly would be just to make sure she knows what's going on. Secondly, it sucks to be a mum about this, but not to fight her on it. Tough love is always good, I say. So try and make a routine out of it, like just brushing your teeth, wake up, do your nebs, do your physio, go take your tablets, go get ready for school. I think that is the best way to go, and not make a big deal out of it. I was the type of person growing up, I didn't want to be different from the other kids. And I think that was where most of my conflicts lied. When I felt different from the other kids, I felt isolated, and that made me angry and made me question, well, why do I have to do this? No one else does. So I think normalize it to the degree that you can. And with the tough love, look, if it gets to that point and you've normalized it, she understands why, and she's still choosing not to do treatment. As a mother, I can't imagine how difficult that is, because you know yourself. I'm sure you would take the medication for her if you could, but unfortunately it's her responsibility, not yours. If she decides not to take it, take away her internet time and say, look, you can only have the internet while you are doing your physio and your nebulizers.
Yeah, I like your one on the education is key. Like, does she know exactly what each pill is for? So you can say, again, I'm no CF expert, but okay, this pill that you're taking now is going to make sure that the mucus is not as thick or whatever. Yeah. Or this pill is going to do exactly...
If only it was that easy, yeah.
Yeah, like this pill is going to make sure that your sugar levels are okay.
But the hardest thing is that when you do have CF, it's invisible. And a lot of these medications are preventative.
Yes.
So she probably hasn't potentially experienced being unwell yet. So you can't say, if you don't have this, you're going to end up really sick. Well, that's all well and good. But if it hasn't happened, it's not like you've got a broken arm and you can go, oh, do this and your arm will be healed.
And another suggestion I would make is, has she seen any of the CF influencers? Like, has she seen any of Lauren's videos where you've talked about how many pills that you take? You've documented all of your medication. So it might help her if she can see someone who's a little bit older, a bit more of a role model, who is in the exact same situation and has to take this and do exactly the same thing. So she realizes, okay, there are other people who have to do this. And I think just make it a bit more of a routine, lay out the pills next to a toothbrush. So when she brushes her teeth, it's done. I don't know. Does she have a pretty pill container? Maybe make it
actually, I have an awesome pill container.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to email this person and let them know, because I can't think of it at the moment.
So she's got them all in a little nice pill container.
That's a hard age, because you don't want to scare anyone, because at that age you're very influenced by what you hear,
and you so much other stuff going on as well. She's coming into puberty. She's having all these other things. Maybe another suggestion. Obviously the mum doesn't need to take that kind of medication, but can she get some vitamins? So when her daughter's taking the pills, we're like, okay, let's go take our pills. So she can take, the mum could take a vitamin B, vitamin D, vitamin C.
I'd hate that as a kid, but maybe it might.
Maybe that could work if you're doing it together, if you're taking the tablets together, maybe. Another suggestion, just throwing out ideas.
And like we said before with the 5 Feet Apart movie, you can't actually really be too close to other CFers, which makes it really hard. So
definitely see that movie, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I've been off YouTube for ages, as you know. I have filmed 3 YouTube clips. Did you know that?
Since when?
In the last week.
Wow, that's a lot.
And I'm not uploading any of them.
Why?
One of them, I'm crying for 20 minutes because I did a trailer review for 5 Feet Apart. Started talking about my own life. Got really upset. I was on my period. My sugars were a mess, so I was hormonal.
I'm just picturing you in a sobbing mess, like with Cadbury chocolate around you, and
that's pretty much what it was. I was like, well, this is depressing. I can't put this on the internet. So just going back to Jessica.
Yes.
Once again, I'm not a mum, and CF is such an insidious disease. or some people don't like me saying disease, illness. But really, my best advice for you is just to be really open and transparent with your daughter. Not arguing with your daughter, but just sitting down, having a really open conversation with her. It might be a little scary, and that's okay, because this is a scary thing that you're dealing with. Even though it's scary, it's okay, and it will be okay. She's young. There's a lot of treatments coming through, and being diagnosed so late, it's going to take some time to adjust to it. And you will have those bad days and you'll have those good days. But if you're fighting constantly, something needs to be done. My last bit of advice for you would be to consider seeing a child psychologist or even a family psychologist. If you go to your hospital or clinic, they have them available.
Do you remember when you went to that psychologist and she said, I don't think I can help you?
Yeah, make sure you go to the right psychologist. I've seen 3 psychologists that have all broke down crying by the end of the session, and I've kind of not helped them, but I've kind of been the one comforting them, going, oh, it's okay. It's all right. God.
So, what do you say in some cases? Like,
thanks, lady. I know my life's a bit hopeless.
When you have a friend as well who has CF, and there are times we hear these stories and, Lauren will have a bit of a D&M with us or something, and you think, oh my God, what is the right thing to say? And I think I remember saying to Lauren once, okay, what do you need from me? Do you want me to give you the funny reply? Do you want me to give you the deep reply? Do you want me to, what do you want?
And that was the best response I have ever gotten off anyone.
Yeah, because Lauren often turns the situation into a comedic
well, I have to, because you all look like you're about to cry.
Yeah, but so she often will bring these things up in a comedic way. But there are times where she brings it up and you can tell that, you're struggling on Struggle Street and, it comes from a much deeper place. I'm like, okay, what do you need from me? Do you want the comedic response? Do you want the deep, meaningful response? Do you, And
it just depends on the day. Sometimes you want to laugh about it, and sometimes you actually need a friend to just chat it through with, have a little cry.
Yeah.
And
and sometimes there are no right words to say. Sometimes we just sit there and we just listen. And
that's perfect, because there isn't anything to say a lot of the time. A lot of the time it's just like, well, this is shit, isn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes my response is literally, that fucking sucks. Like, what am I meant to say?
Because it does.
It does. There are times Lauren can't get out of bed all day. There are times she has to cancel and, can't even just make it to the movies because that's too much. That's too much for her. Or there's, so many things she misses out on, and we see you miss out on these things because you're too tired. You don't have the strength. We're meant to go to Fiji in May. We're celebrating the anniversary of her lungs. She was extremely sick, missed out on her Fiji trip. So there are so many things that, go on behind the scenes that people don't even see and don't even realize. But yeah, it's so important to have friends there. Surrounding
your support group is ridiculously important.
And also just, the friends that are around you, sometimes they need a bit of guidance. Like I was saying, sometimes it's hard. What do you say? So it's okay to tell them you don't need to say anything, because you've said that to us before. I don't need you to say anything. I'm just going to vent right now. Okay, fantastic. Let me put the kettle on.
Yeah, exactly. I think and as you get older, you learn what you need, and then you tell your friends what you need from them.
What are these? Love, heart, gold?
Oh, yeah. So I now have a pin board, and I'm pinning up all of my ideas because I am currently writing something. So that's just to keep everything in place.
Are they from Kmart?
Of course.
How good's Kmart?
Oh, amazing.
Someone said to me the other day, do you go to Big W? I was like, well, look, I will double occasionally, but I'm more of a Kmart person.
So my bank called me at 1 a.m. saying that my card had been, they think it was hacked and it's been used. So there was fraud. So I said, yes, no, that's not me, block it. Oh. I had to call them the next day.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
your recent transaction?
They did. They said, now, we just want to go through your last few transactions just to make sure they haven't been, wrongfully using it before. And they're like, Kmart, $15. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Kmart, $2.50.
Yeah, it was just like so many Kmarts, and the others was just like a bunch of food. Do you know what? My bank account's looking a little bit more adult-like because I've been buying lots of Christmas presents.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm actually really organized this year, which never happens.
I still need to go Christmas shopping.
I'm a little proud of myself.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's a good or bad thing. I'm so organized. It's either I'm really organized because I've got my shit together, or I'm really organized because nothing else is going on in my life.
This is the thing about Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you buy presents for everyone.
Yeah.
And they hopefully buy presents back for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like exchanging money. Why don't we just all not buy presents and just go out and buy yourself something that you'll actually like?
Well, but that takes away the meaning of Christmas.
But do you know what I mean? It's
Okay.
like you're just exchanging money.
Well, in our family, we have Christmas lists.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a gift registry.
I know, but then
Where
again, it's like you just, why don't you just all go out and buy yourself the present that you want?
I guess so. But that's kind of nice. Like I
get that
enjoy finding presents for
Yeah.
people and go, oh, such and such would love this.
Yeah.
I mean, tough titties if they don't.
No, no. And it's crazy to think like how much we spend on Christmas. Like when I was in Africa, I did the 2 days volunteering at this school.
eye-opener. Yeah.
Yeah, so we volunteered 2 days at this school. We had to raise money to go to this school, and it was in Zimbabwe. And this school has nothing. So I took a heap of art stuff. Lauren donated some stuff too. Thank you. And I was like, oh, they're probably going to have all this stuff, but I'll take it anyway.
Mm.
They literally had like a little container of crappy crayons. They had a bucket full of old pencils that you couldn't even use because they were blunt, and I don't think they had a sharpener. They didn't have really any school books. They did occasionally have some writing in which they'd have some scrap bits of paper, punch a hole and tie it together with rope. I said, oh, do you guys celebrate Christmas here? They're like, yes, we'll get together and, we'll cook some food, but that's it. No presents or anything. And these kids would walk an hour and a half to get to school each day. Some of them were as young as three years old. And some of them were even barefoot. And I don't know how they were walking barefoot, which in Africa in 40 degrees heat on this sand, which I don't think I would have lasted 10 seconds. It's just insane. And we were painting their school block, and we had these empty water bottles at my feet, and these kids were pointing at them, and I was like, oh, I was thinking, why did that? It looks like they want them. Why do they want them? I'm like, you can have. And we realized it was because the school makes them porridge for lunch each day, and they didn't even have bowls. So they would put the porridge into our empty water bottles and drink it from there.
Wow.
Like not even to have a bowl.
To
have your lunch that is porridge.
You know what? I can't. This probably sounds very probably not the right way to go about things, but I can't think of the world as a whole. When I think about that, I just go crazy because it just doesn't make sense. The world does not make sense. And I've come to realize I can only do so much. And if I stress about it, that's not going to help either. So I have my certain particular things and charities that I will, obviously contribute to. And then I have to just kind of leave it. Yeah. I think you help as much as you can, but also not to the detriment of yourself.
I think it's good to be
aware
and have a bit of these eye-opening experiences, because you're there and you're thinking, oh my God, like we are so spoiled, and these kids are so happy just like for you to say hello to them. Or
once again, it just goes to show materialistic things does not equal happiness.
It actually doesn't. Like you really start to see that it does not.
Well, on that note,
I got to go do my Christmas shopping.
Oh, God.
Can people comment on this podcast?
I was actually just about to say that.
Yeah.
So this we do completely off our own back, that we do not have any sponsors. So if you would like to support this podcast and like to see more of these made, please rate us. Please subscribe to us. If you want to share it with your friends, that would be awesome. Put it on your Instagram, whatever you would like to do. Every comment, every like helps. So please, if you enjoyed this, do that.
And they should, everyone who's listened to this point, can we give them a word to comment so we can see how many people have listened this far?
Oh, what's the code word?
Oh, Christmas.
Okay.
So type Christmas.
If you've got to this point, type Christmas in the comments
just
below.
out of curiosity.
And Nicole's going to follow that.
Yes, we've got one person.
So that's it. Thank you so much for coming on, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And I'm sure you'll be back anyway. Let's face it,
so.
I don't have that many friends rotating around. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.